any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Huerta. I'm sure we'll have some. In starting off, as you had indicated in your opening statements, and statements have been made in the past, the FAA Technical Center that I represent is the test and integration facility for NextGen. I understand now the Florida test bed also reports through the Technical Center, and I'm wondering if it is appropriate to assume that the soon-to-be named 6 UAS test sites will also report to the Technical Center?
We haven't made a determination of the reporting because the test sites would actually be privately operated. What we are providing as part of the unmanned aircraft test site designation is a designation for them to operate and to perform research and analysis so that we can understand how these integrate into the national airspace. What currently the process of selection of the test sites is administered through a joint program office that is jointly administered by our Aviation Safety Organization and our Air Traffic Organization. And as we get later in the year and we make some further determinations and decisions regarding the selection of the test sites, we will make some decisions as to how best to integrate them into our organization.
So then the final testing and integration collaboration from the 6 test sites for UAS into the national airspace remains to be seen whether that will be done at the FAA's Technical Center?
I think what we have to see is what the proposals put forward and then how we best leverage that data across the whole FAA.
Okay. I obviously have a keen interest in this.
Certainly.
Moving on to another topic. The FAA is currently behind on providing Congress with National Facilities Consolidation and Realignment Report. Can you give us a status of the report, and can you tell us will it be comprehensive and include all of the FAA's facility consolidation and realignment projects?
Yes. As you know, the consolidation of facilities has been something that has been a high priority for the agency, and reauthorization provided us important tools to address how we look at consolidation of facilities. One of the things that has bedeviled us in the past as we've looked at this has been that the agency had in the past used inconsistent technical approaches in evaluating whether or not and how best to achieve benefits associated with consolidation. We've been working collaboratively with our stakeholders and partners to work through a process of how we would look across the full scope of facilities that exist across the country. And while it has taken longer, certainly, than was anticipated by the committee, and certainly longer than I would like to see, I think that the benefits of this collaboration have been quite fruitful. We're expecting to finalize an approach that we would like to share with the committee at a point in the future and talk about what the way forward would look like, but we are looking at the full scope of FAA facilities.
Any idea what point in the future?
In the coming couple of months.
Couple of months. Last question for now. You may be aware that several members have recently introduced a bill called the Small Airplane Revitalization Act of 2013. Sure. The legislation is intended to remove some outdated regulatory barriers to streamline certification processes and improve the well-being of general aviation industry, all while keeping a keen eye to improving safety. Have you at all been familiar with this legislation, or have you seen it or had a chance to look at it?
I have seen the legislation, and as you know, Mr. Chairman, we have been working on safety improvements for small airplanes regulated under Part 23 for quite some time now. We've had an aviation rulemaking committee composed of industry experts that have been working since August of 2011 to review our regulations and processes and to provide actionable recommendations to the FAA. We're expecting that we would soon be receiving the ARC's recommendations, and we'll be able to evaluate them for implementation planning and assigning of resources and establishing of timelines. I'm not able to comment on the pending legislation, but should this legislation become law, the FAA will, of course, implement its provisions as we do with any other mandate.
Okay. Well, we would be interested if you and your team have an opportunity to take a look at this, and if you have any suggestions you can offer us about how we can dovetail in so that we're sort of working together on this and not have the committee working on something that you can see some improvements that can be suggested with?
We can certainly do that. On a high level, the approach that, as I understand the legislation, does acknowledge the work that's been ongoing, and I think that there is a great deal of convergence there, but we can take a look at it.
Okay, we would appreciate that. Thank you.